Jake Paul defeats UFC legend Nate Diaz in a 10-round decision, which was really no surprise. Going into the fight, I felt like Jake Paul was the favorite. After 4 years of serious training, he is a better boxer than Nate.
Oh, fuck off.
He is bigger, probably faster, and has much heavier hands. Nate came into the fight heavier than his MMA fights, but it was a soft weight, so physically speaking, Jake had the advantage. Round 1, Nate looked confident early until he got tagged by a solid left that started to swell his right eye. I think Nate realized that Jake's power is no joke, but Nate is tough as nails and it doesn't faze him too much. Fast forward to round 5, Jake already up 3-1, and Jake drops Nate with a hard left to the temple, which pretty much secures the win if it goes to a decision. Nate, being a guy that can take heavy shots and keep pushing and still keeps finding energy, has momentum turn his way in the 8th round. And this is where it gets weird. After winning round 8, looking like the fresher fighter, and finally finding his groove, Nate decides to turn his back and not engage, and in fact showboat. He surely knows he has to stop Jake to win, so it makes no sense at all to stop pushing forward. Now, some say Nate was throwing pillow punches all fight, but it's kind of the Diaz style. Punches and bunches, which are low energy and do damage over time, and eventually can break down their opponents. Nate Diaz is not a knockout puncher, but a TKO via referee stoppage could have been possible if Nate connected a flurry of punches. Instead, he put him in a choke. It was also strange that there was so much talk from Paul and Diaz about a rematch in MMA before the boxing match even started. If Nate pummeled Jake in this boxing match, where was the intrigue in an MMA fight where we know aside from a lucky KO, Jake Paul has zero chance of winning? We would tune in just to see Jake Paul lose again in worse fashion. But if Jake Paul wins, that's going to sell what, 20%, maybe 40% more tickets? There is a tremendous amount more money in a rematch if Jake Paul wins, and all parties, including Nate Diaz, knows this. After the match, why was Diaz so happy? He is a respectful guy that doesn't really make excuses in a loss, but isn't exactly a happy guy when he loses either. However, after this fight, he seemed like he didn't care at all. There will be people that say it's because he's walking to the bank with a big fat paycheck. The guy has fought Conor McGregor twice on pay-per-view. I am sure he has had some big paychecks before. Unfortunately, which helps the skepticism more, is Jake Paul's fights always seem to have something weird take place that makes it plausible to believe his fights are rigged. Throwing a very telegraphed punch against a UFC champ who dropped his hands at the right time, Anderson Silva, perhaps the most dangerous headhunter in UFC history, throwing soft punches to the shoulder, etc., etc. So I am torn. On the one hand, it was a very entertaining fight to watch. Through 8 rounds, it looked like a proper boxing match. Jake was throwing and looking to connect, and Nate had his moments and was starting to look like he could make a comeback. Until the 9th round, at least. So I think Jake Paul wins this fight fair and square. But on the other hand, there are some things that are weird and hard to explain. A minute after the fight, a rematch is already in the works. In the Jake Paul boxing circus, money is always one of the biggest talking points, and we know a rematch with Nate is another big money maker, especially when Nate is already down a loss. Now, I don't know. What do you guys think? Was there something fishy going on? Was it completely rigged? Or did Jake Paul earn another chip of respect for beating another UFC star? Leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.